looks like we're going live. I'm going to hang out for just a second because I know there's a few people who are wanting to get on here and they need to see. You can talk to me. I can't read lips. Got my kids in the background. Sorry, guys. What? Yes, he went that way with the baby. I think he's going to actually go out in the garden or the field or something like that. Okay. So, just hanging out. Okay. Hello. This is my first live stream, so I'm a little bit nervous. Sorry, guys. Super excited though. I figured that today we would talk about stuff like fall plantings, bulb orders that we're doing, and I had somebody who was asking about wanting to talk about lavender pruning, and so it's not quite the season for that, but some people believe it is, and so maybe it's important that we talk about that so that we don't ruin our lavender, because that would be the worst. In fact, one of the whole reasons, hello Steve, one of the whole reasons that I started gardening was because my husband and I took a vacation to Sequim, Washington, and they have, it's like the lavender capital of America, and they are located on the Olympic Peninsula, and it's like this, it's called a blue hole. Basically, like there's rain everywhere else, but somehow because of the mountain ranges, the way that they're situated, there's not a lot of rain there, and it's perfect conditions for lavender, and so everybody has lavender farms. It's almost like the air smells like lavender there, and I wanted to do that here, and so we have a lot of lavender on this property, but I decided that I wanted to branch out and do a lot more than just that. But lavender's pretty awesome, so we want to make sure that we take care of our lavender as much as possible. Hi Wanda! Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. It's been a long process of getting back involved with YouTube. My having babies is very time consuming, and I was very morning sick for my toddler, and then in the midst of being pregnant with a toddler, there was a lot going on, and homeschooling the others, and it just wasn't the right season for this. So I'm excited that I'm kind of back on track again, and we're heading in full steam ahead with videos and live streams now. Stand up. Can you not see me? Hi. Is it difficult to see me? Can you hear me? Stand up. I don't want to stand up the whole time. So maybe I could just lower this a little bit. Yeah, we're getting back into it for sure. Does that help? Is that better? Okay, so yay, thank you, Steve. Again, this is my first time doing a live stream, so I'm a little bit, my husband was standing over there, he was like, just hit the button, Ruth, you can do this, just hit the button. Okay, so I'm waiting for a certain somebody to come on to talk about the lavender, because she was asking about it specifically. So I guess, are you going to be planting a lot of bulbs this fall? Because I'm obsessed with the idea of ordering bulbs. I've already ordered over 800 bulbs to plant. Hey, Akash. I hope I'm saying that right. We are gardening, talking about gardening stuff, homesteading stuff, food forest stuff. If you guys have food forest questions, that would be awesome. Anything else? Plants involved, we like that. Homesteading, chickens, cows, goats. You're getting more fruit trees? Steve, that's awesome. That's so exciting. You got any specific varieties that you're going for? Yeah, it is definitely a lot of bulbs. I think though, in my head, I'm thinking that it's easier to plant a ton of bulbs, looking at them if you're also planting for like spring, summer, and then late summer blooms in the fall than it is to worry about getting all the plants in the ground in spring. Because if you wait until spring, then you also have like the garden cleanup to take care of. And since we live in the middle of a forest, we have all these leaves that pile up in the spring that we're constantly trying to get rid of and get out of the garden beds. And then there's cleanup, and I do spring cleaning in the house. I really like doing that, and it's just a lot to handle. And in the fall, there's just so much time because everything's just winding down, you know. So if you can get everything planted in the fall, well, as much as you can, then that's really beneficial for saving time next year. And then it's almost like, you know, you didn't have to work at all in the spring. All these flowers come up and you forget that you worked so hard in the fall, and it's like bonus flowers. I don't know. Pawpaws and hazelnuts. Oh, that's awesome. And berry bushes, food forest stuff. Oh, that's so cool. Are you planting it in a food forest like configuration, or you got it kind of all spread out so you can like mow between them? Hello, Brax. Thank you for saying that. I'm worried about if you guys can hear me or not. Fall is definitely the time to plant those fruit trees, guys, and berry bushes and all those things like that. Figs, maybe not figs. They kind of have a little bit harder time getting established and getting their roots going in order to do well being planted at least late fall, like September on, and then being able to come through again, at least in my zone. And we're zone 6B here. So if you're 7, it seems like 7 is just like so much better than 6B, and it seems like there's such a huge difference, and I don't understand why it's such a huge difference. Maybe it's just in my mind. I know all the things that I can't plant or the things that don't do well just because they're that one little half a zone above me. But zone A, not A, zone 8, probably you do great planting figs. Hi, Marlon. Hi. Hey, cool kid. Yeah, we're doing great. We're doing really good. Nice. That's awesome. So starting spread out and then working your way in, because you can always add more, right? So interplanting in between the fruit trees is awesome. As long as you get the trees in immediately, as much as you can, right? So when I did the food forest over here, I got as many fruit trees as I could afford and didn't worry about the berry bushes as much, and just got in the fruit trees because they take the longest, you know, unless you're planting something like honeyberries, and that takes a while. Hi. Oh, Constance is here. Hello. You're the one who was talking about lavender. Hey, I hope you have a good Faye that kind of though, because you know it's Faye Hollow Homestead, so very nice. I hope you had a good day too. Okay, so lavender. Okay, we're gonna hop into lavender. So if you are in a colder zone, I don't know if you guys have experienced this. I've gone online a lot and looked up all the advice on how to prune lavender. It seems like some people say do it in the fall, some people say do it in the spring, and I've learned that both is correct, except for you have to consider your zone. So if you're in a really warm climate like zone 8 or something like that and above, prune in the fall, and you're going to want to do a really good pruning about half the plant, and definitely don't get to like the woody area. But if you live in a colder zone, a cooler zone, I mean, we're not really cold, but like 6, maybe 7, and then below that, you're going to want to prune in spring if you're doing lavender, because you want to get that new growth coming up and really have it being alive and vigorous to come back from that pruning, because we're kind of on the edge with lavender. So thanks, Christopher. It's the joy of postpartum. Oh, thank you, cool kid. Thank you. I'm excited. There's a lot of hope and a lot of good things coming along, and joy coming. So let's see. Definitely don't cut down to the woody base. You can do a second pruning if you live in a cooler climate of just like after it blooms, you can prune it down slightly, and then, thank you, Cool Kid, I appreciate the sub, definitely. Um, Prune it down a little bit, do a light pruning after it flowers, but if you're gonna do like the heavy shaping pruning, you're gonna wanna do that in the spring for lavender. If you live in a climate, I would say 7 or below. So, yes, lavender is doing really well here. We were talking about Sequim, Washington, where they have that blue hole with the weather, and how the Olympic Peninsula, which is, you know, a rainforest basically, has the biggest lavender area, growing area of the United States basically, which is crazy because you wouldn't think it'd be so great in that rainy area, but that blue hole, just the configurations in the mountains really keeps the clouds at bay, and it's a very Mediterranean climate in just that one city, and so that's the lavender capital of America. Amazing place to go visit if you can. We went kayaking there, up to Orcas Island, and we went kayaking in the Sound, and we were trying to see orca whales, but we did not. Our tour guide did show us a lot of really cool things. We ate a sea anemone from the sea, fresh right there. We found an octopus. We were in kayaks, and so our tour guide tried to grab the octopus and show it to us, and this little octopus was so much stronger than him, it actually pulled him over in his kayak, and it was a little bit of a kerfuffle, and that was fun. That was interesting. He's fine, but I don't think he's doing that again. Do I have a mod? I do not. This is my first live stream, and so I don't have a mod. I don't even know how to do that. So this is really just like an experiment for me right now. Used to live on Lopez Island. Is that in those San Juan Islands there? Because I fell in love completely with the San Juan Islands. They're gorgeous. If I could live anywhere else other than here, because this is 100% my forever home, I would definitely move to the San Juan Islands. My goodness, just absolutely incredible. And there's some really great people who do channels from that area, and their gardens are just crazy amazing. Oh man, I'm jealous. Ah, man. Okay, so we're talking about bulbs because I'm obsessed with bulbs right now. Oh, cool. I'll try that out. I'm on my phone, so nothing has words on it. So I don't know. I think I'll have to fiddle with that later on. So okay. So yes, I'm ordering everything that I can, and I'm really trying to think about ordering things that are not going to just bloom in the spring, but also in summer and then late fall. I've noticed this year that my garden is looking very green and not very flowery, because there were some definite holes in seasons where there's just nothing is blooming naturally, and so that's something that I've been researching and trying to fill those holes. And then I saw somebody on YouTube earlier, I don't remember who they were, but they were showing how they planted their garden. I think this is the coolest thing. If you guys like this idea, let me know. Like, oh my goodness. He planted his garden in colors that matched the seasons. So the things that bloom in spring were spring colors, the things that bloomed in summer were summery colors, and the things that bloomed in fall were like these really beautiful autumnal colors. And I just thought that was brilliant, and it changed the garden so much throughout the year, and really set the tone for how you felt, because you feel a certain way during the year, right? Like in the spring, you wanting those really bright colors after the winter, and then after the summer, you're definitely wanting those autumnal colors. I don't know about you, but I am really craving fall. I want the cool breezes and the crisp air, and I'm done with the heat for sure. Really, really done with the heat. And I am a huge fan of the pumpkin spice lattes. I'm sorry guys. I hope you don't hate me for that, but I love the pumpkin spice lattes. So phlox is a really big thing. Do you guys plant phlox in your gardens? Because my mother-in-law, I don't know, you can see a little bit of her garden up here. She has this beautiful kind of, well, she has multiple gardens, but she has one that's right up against the edge of her house right there. And she has this pink phlox that she grows, and they're just gorgeous, and I fell in love with them. But the garden that I have growing around my front area of my house is not pink. It's purple and white with some pops of yellow. I was going to say lemon, but kind of the same. So lots of purple. It is just very relaxing for me, so I really like having the purple and the green and the silverish kind of thing. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous here. I will never leave. And the only thing that would make me leave would be the San Juan Islands. But so I found some phlox. I've just been raiding the Holland Bulb website, and go away, go away, go away. Told my kids not to show their faces, and well, anyway, that was my son Caleb, and I said a name. Gosh darn it, live. I said it live. I'm so upset about this. I started talking about you because I happen to like you a lot, and then I said your name, and I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, okay. Okay, so phlox. I found these purple phlox and these white phlox. Everybody just forget what you just heard. Purple phlox and white phlox, and they're the tall phlox. I'm really hoping to get those planted in. And I didn't even realize, this is new for me because I haven't planted them before, that you can plant them in the fall if you get the roots. And so I'm trying to research as much as I can, finding out and push it a little bit, how much I can plant this fall so that I don't have to plant in the spring, because you know everything's crazy in the spring. And next year, because of these beautiful babies that I've been having, my vegetable garden has been resting. We'll say that as a nice way of saying it, that I haven't been taking care of it. But the vegetable garden has been resting, and it's been basically taken over by evening primrose at this point, which is beautiful. And I'm letting it be. My son actually went in there and clipped a lot of it down, pruned it so that there would become more flowers this fall and this winter, and the seeds that it produces are going to feed a lot of the songbirds in the area. So I'm not too upset about it, but I want my vegetable garden back. So next spring I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm going to leave all the weeds and all the flowers and everything that's in there already. I'm going to leave that over the winter so that all the overwintering bugs and beneficial insects that are making nests there, that they can have a place to overwinter, and then the birds can also have a thing where there's constant food for them. They love the echinacea bulbs, blossoms, seed heads, oh my goodness, the seed heads, and then the evening primrose seed heads and the sunflowers, and we've got a lot of that going on in there. A lot of that. And so I'm going to leave that up, and then in the spring my big project is going to be laying down black tarps over all the beds, and I'm just going to push all the vegetation down and then put the black tarps on top and let that all compost into the soil. And over the summer the heat of that will compost all that very quickly, and it'll actually get hot enough where any of the seeds of things that I don't want to reseed themselves, I just want sterile soil after that, basically, because I want to start over. All the seeds will be cooked as well, so I won't have to worry about anything popping up that is unwanted, because all the seeds of any weeds or any of the flowers or anything like that that I've had in there are going to be cooked along with the vegetation as well. And so that's going to compost, and that's going to be really great. I'm probably, after I pack it down, I'm probably going to do a really good spring cleaning of all the chicken coops and then lay down a bunch of their manure on top as well, and then put the black tarps on. So next year my fall or my vegetable garden is just going to be not in production whatsoever, and it's probably going to be kind of ugly because it's got all the black tarps everywhere. But the food forest is right next to that, and that will keep me very busy. And then this garden out here, which I am loving playing with, I'll have this as well. And I have some raised beds here that I really like to plant my high maintenance vegetables in, like tomatoes, beans, just anything that you have to pick a lot of often, cucumbers, zucchini, stuff like that. I plant that here, so because my other garden is kind of a walk away, and it's just easier every time I walk by these to see, oh, that's ripe, and grab some. And it's a multi times a day that I walk by there, and it makes it really easy, which is all just zones, right? Plant any flowers or shrubs that are beneficial to fruit and nut trees, nitrogen fixers, pests, pest deterrents, etc. Oh, yes. Oh, okay, so flowers that are really good for food forests are 4 o'clocks. You really want to plant a plethora of 4 o'clocks. First of all, because they're just gorgeous. Second of all, they bring in a lot of the really good beneficial insects, but there's something about 4 o'clocks that repel a lot of the bad insects. And then, well, marigolds. Most people know about marigolds. Daffodils are really good. If you can, this is a great, I didn't do this, but a lot of people will take daffodils and they'll order, like on Holland Bulb, the website right now, Holland Bulbs, you can order 50 daffodil and naturalizing daffodils too, bulbs for like $15. So that's a lot, and daffodils multiply. So over the years they'll double and triple and quadruple. So you'll end up like with a ton of them. Tulips are not really known for doing that well, but daffodils are definitely, and they're also very deer resistant as well. But if you plant those in a ring around, let's say you're making just like a fruit tree guild, and so you've got the fruit tree, and you've got your blueberries or your honeyberries or your raspberries or whatever that you're doing underneath, and then you've got your herbaceous level, like you've got your sages or honeyberries and lavender, rosemary, oregano, and then you've got your ground layer. So you've got like the strawberries or the thyme, or oh, there's just so many. Uva ursi, that's really good. Bearberry, that's what that is, bearberry. Those are really good ground covers. And then if you plant around that, if you're in a grassy area, the daffodils will keep the grasses at bay. And they'll also keep pests like voles and stuff like that out of the garden beds if you can get them in without having the voles already inside. I'm experimenting right now with, because voles are the bane of my existence here. I've put these white balls that I found on Amazon. They are supposed to be vole and mole deterrents, and they smell really strongly, and they're basically essential oil based, and so really, really high intensity peppermint, and then I think clove maybe, and you just set them, and I think they have like 120 yard radius of where they're effective, and I didn't feel like that was good enough for me, so I really compacted them closely. But I've got like 5 in each bed up here, and these are pretty small beds where I'm going to be planting a lot of my tulips and daffodils that I'm getting. So I haven't gotten those bulbs yet, so I put those balls in the gardens a week or 2 ago, and I just want to really give the voles time to get out. And so if you have problems with voles, those might work. I haven't seen it for sure yet, but I've heard really good things about it, and we'll see, I guess. But daffodils are really good for going around fruit trees and nut trees, nitrogen fixers. Lupine is really good. Lupine. I've never heard anybody consistently say it one way, but they're beautiful. They're really great for nitrogen fixing. They're really great for beneficial insects coming in. Those are really good. And then sage is really good because it repels the bad, and it does, some of it flowers beautifully, and you can get some really beneficial insects coming in from that. Garlic and onions, those Egyptian walking onions are really cool. I dig those. And then, okay, any flowers or shrubs that are beneficial to fruit and nut trees. Any shrubs? Any shrubs? Any shrubs? Most of the shrubs I know are the fruit shrubs. I've been falling in love with Nanking cherry. So if you haven't tried out the Nanking cherry, try those out. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 Nanking cherries planted around here, and they are filling out beautifully, and their fruit is delicious. And my toddler ate all of them. I had maybe one, but he would come out every day and strip all of the cherries off the bushes and eat them. And he knew there were seeds in them, so he'd take them out. But they're really good, and it's a cherry on a bush, which is fabulous. I have a really hard time getting my cherries to produce because this is not quite the climate for cherries. It's not their favorite. Peaches do really, really well here. Pears do really well. Apples are doing great, but the cherries are just not. Michigan is good for them. They're not thriving here. 7B. Oh, I'm jealous. My goodness. Okay, 7B just started a year ago. Struggling with grass. Yeah, Bermuda and other spreading grasses. Yeah. It's really difficult. So the daffodils would help with that. Also, if you can, are you doing like an enclosed garden where it's like just one big forest, or is it kind of like an orchard and each fruit tree has its own guild? That kind of changes it a little bit, because I just, can I link the vole product? I will, in the comments, I'll pin a comment and show you the link for it. I don't know how to link. I'm not as technologically savvy as I should be. If you're doing the guilds, then I would say get maybe like a 4-inch or a 5-inch. What would you call that? Landscape edging. Edging right here. I've got some edging right there. And put it in a big loop around where you want to keep them. All your plants kind of contained, and then just mulch the heck out of it. And then maybe on the outside of this, and I know that it's getting into, we're spending money now, and I don't like to spend money, but if you could maybe even just put like a layer of brick around the base on the outside of the edging, and that would really keep the grasses at bay. That would give them quite a thing to leap over, and it would be easier to kind of pull them out as you see them coming up. But if you are doing like one big garden, kind of like what I've got going on in my food forest, which is, I've measured it before. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I've measured it before, and I think it's about like 50 by 50. So what I've done is I've just created the guilds, mulched the guilds really heavily, planted, and then where the grass paths were between, put, thanks to my mother, who is just like my garden's greatest gift. She got for me, I don't know if it was for Mother's Day or or for something. It was some sort of gift, and it was beautiful, and it was like the most amazing thing. Anyway, she gave me like a pallet of bricks, and I bricked the edges of the gills, and then I put the hard, heavy layers of cardboard down, and then I put mulch on top of that. And I have not had as much a problem with grass at all. Once it was just the edges around the huge garden that I had to deal with. So I hope that helps. Okay, stars and orchard, lots of walking on. Nice! I love that. That's wonderful. Yeah, grass is a pain in the butt. I mean, you can also plant like a beneficial grass. They have like sweet grass, like vanilla grass. I have some of that growing in my bed, and I always have to explain it to people. It's not a weed, it's just, it's vanilla sweet grass, because it smells really good, and I think it could be beneficial having that, and I'd like to have an established plot of it and then plant it out in other places so that I can start using it in my house, because it's really beneficial in the house. Yeah, so and some of my favorite gardeners books that I've learned from. Okay, so I've read about him, and I've been on his website, and I have all of his books, and I absolutely adore this man. He is like a pioneer in the world of herbs. But Rico Keck, I think it is Rico Keck, RICHOCECH. He is amazing, and he owns the website Strictly Medicinal Herbs, and you can go on there and get like every kind of herb you'd ever think about, ever. Like, it's amazing and incredible what he has. He has seeds, he has live plants, you can buy them, he has tinctures, he has these books that are just incredible, and he's the one that got me started planting things that are slightly outside my zone, and that in that highly desirable zone 7 that I wish that I had. All these plants are possible that aren't quite possible where I am, and so I build up a little soil bed and then place rocks all around the soil bed, and then even on the soil, and then just have the little plant sticking out of a little hole in the middle, and that kind of makes up for the fact that I'm a 6B and not a 7. And so these herbs will do a lot better in something like that. So Rico Keck, he's amazing. He does some really great books. I really like the content that Roots and Refuge Farm has. Like, she's beautiful and wonderful, and she does a lot of homesteading stuff. So, and gardening, of course. And then books that I've read. There's a book that I read called Biodynamic Gardening. I think you guys can find it on Amazon. Biodynamic Gardening, where they teach you about how to use plant materials to help the rest of your plants. So making a type of clay to put on your fruit tree if there is a, if your fruit tree has like a weeping wound and there's like disease getting in there, what type of things that you can not spray exactly, I guess, but like powder your trees with, things that people have been doing since the dawn of time for their fruit trees, but not, they aren't chemical. They're all plant-based, and they're just amazing. So, and it also talks about when to plant, because you know there's the moon phases too, which kind of sounds, you know, a little woo-woo, right? But it's really true. The phases of the moon really affect how you should be planting in your garden. And now with 5 kids, I have kind of gotten off of that a little bit, and I'm just happy to get things in when I can. But once they don't require so much attention from me, and I can kind of just like putter in my garden a lot again, because I have some older children and I have some brand new kids. And so there was like a 2-year, 3-year period in there where I could be out in the garden and my kids were just like making forts in the forest, and it was fine. But not right now. But if you plant, you know, root vegetables at a certain time of the month is really beneficial, rather than planting like leafy vegetables, a certain time of the book. Anyway, the biodynamic gardening book is just incredible, and it's got like a blackish cover. If you look on Amazon, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. It's really good. Yeah, nitrogen fixers. There's anything in the legume family is really, really good. Is really, really good. And this is something that I learned a few years ago. People say planting peas and stuff like that is going to help fix the nitrogen in your garden, and it doesn't. The planting of the peas doesn't do anything. The peas, they pull the nitrogen in their roots into their roots, and they're holding on to it in their root systems. And so it's not really like, you can't plant peas next to let's say carrots or whatever, and the peas are going to be feeding carrots. That's not how it works. What you have to do is you have to plant the peas, and then you have to like chop down the peas so that the roots die and the roots become composted in the soil. And once they're composted in the soil, then the carrots are going to benefit from that nitrogen that was in the roots. Otherwise, it's locked up in the roots. So they're always talking about in companion planting, you know, make sure you plant like this nitrogen fixer right next to, you know, this other plant. Well, you got to be really careful that the nitrogen fixer that you're planting is something that you can kind of like chop and drop, right? And every time that you prune back something really heavily, some of the outer roots are going to die. And then it'll focus on those main roots again, and then spread out some new ones, and then you'll all that die off on the outer roots is going to feed the rest of your garden. And so you want something that you can kind of chop and drop. We've got a ton of autumn olive, not on purpose. It was planted here before we got here, before my in-laws got here, and they're kind of the bane of my mother-in-law's existence. That and my evening primrose. And my passion flower, kind of the bane of her existence. But the autumn olive, oh, and the tree of heaven. Oh, even I don't like the tree of heaven, and I look at the autumn olive and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of taking over, but at least you're doing some good stuff like fixing the nitrogen. And those are one of those things where you can chop it, and we'll come back stronger. But the roots are fixing the soil if you chop it back. So that's a beneficial there. That, and they have really awesome berries. I was going to do a short about that sometime soon, because I have some really great footage of my son sitting on my husband's shoulders eating the autumn olive berries. And a lot of people think they're poisonous, but they are not. And it is a nitrogen fixer. So there's that. Let's see. Do I ever use any kind of weed killer? My hands. That's it. We don't, no other kind of weed killer. I am starting to use organic fertilizer rather than just like comfrey leaves composting into the soil. So that's like the biggest thing that I'm doing with that kind of stuff. I almost feel like it's not completely organic doing the fertilizer, but it's organic fertilizer, and it's really slow release, and it's not changing the soil's microbiome at all, so I'm okay with that. So I've got some good fertilizers that I'm doing there, but absolutely no weed killer, absolutely not any weed killer. If I have grass growing in the gravel of my yard, I might pour boiling water on it, but that's about it. And we do, I weed whack. That's about it. Yeah, I don't, never weed killer. And yeah, so the other guild plants that let's see, things that I wish that I had known when I was planting. I don't know. I have a dwarf nectarine tree that is in the front of my food forest, right by my front door of it, where my gate that I go in, and it's on a slope, right? So everything here is on the slope because we're on the side of a mountain, and the dwarf nectarine, and there's also a dwarf mulberry there, and I have learned definitely that just because it says dwarf doesn't mean that it's going to stay dwarf. Those are the biggest plants in my food forest, and they're shading out a lot of things. So I got these really handy electric pruners on a really long stick that I'm going to go out. I'm going to just like chop the tops off of those. I wish I had thought about doing that earlier, but that's the only thing I can think of right now. Let's see. Yeah, they do. They start popping up everywhere. We can't get rid of them. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, they got goats, and they put them on the hill right around where the food forest is and the garden is and where the chicken coops are, because there was a ton of barberry, and then there was a ton of autumn olive up there, and the goats loved it. But no matter how much the goats would eat down to the root, they still are coming up. And you can walk the trails that we have here, and there's 100 acres on this property, and most of it is trails going through the woods, and they're just everywhere. And I think when the original people planted them, I think because there was just one line of them, just like a line of like 3 or 5 of them, and they planted them because they were bear hunting, I think. From what I remember the story, they were bear hunting. These berries were on the trees, and so it would draw in the bears, and now they're just all over the mountain. And so they really spread out. I think that there are some varieties that you can buy specifically, though, that are not, they are non-fertile. So if the berries get eaten by the birds and the seeds drop somewhere through their defecating, then there's nothing going to grow from that. Sorry, just one second. Yes. Yes. If you look in the freezer, you will find them there. Yes. We are carnivores here. We love carnivore. Okay. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Yeah. The autumn olive berry is really you don't want to plant the autumn olive unless you know for sure that it's a sterile plant, because it will go everywhere. And I am the most I'm the biggest oh my goodness, just one second. What? It's in a green bag and it says meatballs. Yes. Anyway, there's in my mind, there's just no real bad plant except for maybe the tree of heaven. I mean, even kudzu is, if you plant it in a responsible manner, not that I would ever plant it. I would never plant it. But if it was planted in a responsible manner, like in the middle of a goat pen, then it would be really beneficial, because the goats would devour it, and it is really healthy and it would feed them very well. Again, I would never do that. But like in my plants serve a purpose, and there's always something good about the plant that that otherwise it wouldn't really exist in my mind. That makes sense to me. So yeah, the autumn olive berry, but the berries are delicious. You can get different varieties of them, and I think if you get the sterile ones, there are varieties that you can get that are more sweet. The ones that we have are very, very tart, but they are like grown from seed from bird droppings, and so they're not specific varieties. They're just kind of wild. You can make jams out of them. They're really yummy. Again, my toddler goes out there and eats them like it's candy. Yeah, the side effects are just, and they're really pretty, and they look like they would be a nitrogen fixer. They do, because they've got that leaf that looks like a nitrogen fixer leaf, and I have not heard from anybody saying that they fix the nitrogen, but I do know that they definitely put out that toxin into the ground where it kills off all the competing plants around them, and then they're really brittle, so they grow quickly, very quickly. And then they fall very quickly too, so it's a hazard. And then the wood is so crumbly that you can't even burn it. So, I mean, we have a wood stove here, and it would be amazing if we could burn the stuff, because it's falling all over the place, and my husband is constantly having to go out onto the trails and clear the trails of the fallen autumn olive trees. They have knocked over and smashed fences that I've put up, fences that my in-laws have put up around for their goats and stuff like that, and they're just a pain in the butt. But they've got really pretty flowers. Yeah, and they smell like popcorn. I like that too. There's a weed here that is white and it's kind of fluffy. I'll see if I can like show it to you guys sometime, but it's white and it smells like maple syrup, and it's so good. And I don't know what the name of this weed is, but it grows in the field and it is just, oh my goodness, it's delicious. And I love picking some of the flowers and just keeping it with me and smelling it all the time, because it smells like maple syrup and it's delicious. I don't eat it, but it smells delicious. So yeah, I'm gonna be yeah, I've got about 850 bulbs ordered already, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 because I just don't see any bad thing happening from planting an abundance of bulbs. And I'm actually in the raised beds that I have outside my house right here. They're about 2.5 feet tall. I'm going to plant a huge layer of tulips, really densely planted in those, and I think that's going to be gorgeous. And then by the time that the tulips are done blooming, I'm thinking that would be the time that I would be planting things like tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. So I think this could be really good. We'll see, but I'm really excited about that. And then I just want to plant daffodils everywhere, all over the property. I want them to spread. I definitely got the kinds that are specific to naturalizing. I got a lot of naturalizing things, actually. I got things like wild hyacinth, which are supposed to be good for naturalizing the checkered lily fritillarius. I read a lot, so I don't know how to pronounce a lot of the things, but I can recognize the words, and I know what it is in my mind. Siberian squill and botanical tulips. Botanical tulips are supposed to really naturalize well. They're small. They're like 4 to 8 inches tall, and they're really pretty in the way that they bloom. If you guys haven't seen those before, they're just gorgeous. Check them out. But I'm going to be planting those, and like crocuses and things like that in the grass in areas that we don't mow often. And then probably along the forest line a lot, and then in my garden a whole bunch, and then around all the trees that are in the yard. I'm just really excited about that. Oh, about mushrooms and their tinctures. I literally just did a video yesterday about mushrooms. We found chicken of the woods in the forest yesterday, and I've got it in my fridge tonight. I'm going to be frying it up, and I'm so excited. Chicken of the woods is like one of the easiest mushrooms you can possibly find and identify, and it tastes like chicken. It's got the texture of chicken. It's delicious, and it's like free meat in the forest. I guess you could just go hunting too, but the it's a lot of bang for your buck too. It grows quite large, and it's really delicious. And yes, I will be doing more of that. It's a little bit hard for me to go out into the forest right now and do the mushroom hunting videos and things about that, because I have the baby who is 3-4 months old right now, and then a toddler who is 2, and so when I go out in the woods, my focus is just pretty much on them and making sure that they're doing good things, and then also like showing them stuff, and it's just so cool to see the world through their eyes. It's just incredible. And I wish that I was the mom that I am now to my older kids, because I learned so much from my older kids on how to be a better parent, that these younger kids are benefiting from it. I wish that I could have given my older kids that benefit as well. But I guess everybody feels that way. We gotta learn somehow, right? We did our best. So yeah, but I'm also going to be teaming up with my neighbor, and we're going to be, I've got hundreds, I think, probably hundreds, if not 50 to 100 different types of tinctures that I've made from my garden, from things that I've foraged in the forest, in my kitchen right now. And we're going to be putting together tinctures, we're going to be making salves, we're going to be putting together teas, drying herbs. She makes really good soaps. We're going to be putting together like special hair washes that are really beneficial for all those things like that. We're going to be going to fairs and festivals and stuff and starting to sell some of the stuff that we're making, which is exciting. So she and I are in the big planning stages of that. So that's another big thing that we're going to be doing coming up soon, and that'll be so much fun. In my mind, I'm like, I hope we get to do the Renaissance Fair, because wouldn't that be fun to dress up and sell tinctures at the Renaissance? Anyway, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun to me. And then yeah, so also, like, let me know, guys, if there's any other, if there's videos. I've gotta sign off here in about 10 minutes, but if there's any other videos specifically that you want me to do, I can do more on the food forest guilds, and I can do more on maybe just one on the nitrogen fixing and things that are beneficial for keeping out pests and stuff like that from your fruit trees and things like that. That would be really fun. I love talking about the food forest the most of everything that I do. I love talking about that the most. The food forest is definitely my passion for sure. In fact, I was so obsessed with it for a long time that I would kind of raise my eyebrows and laugh. Microclimates, yes, I will definitely do that. Yes, I like that. Yes. I was kind of snobby about flowers, because in my mind, why would you plant things that are just flowery and pretty when you can plant something that is flowery and then edible as well? And I got humbled by looking through a tulip catalog one time and changed my mind completely. And now I have this garden outside my house, which is basically just a pretty garden, and I love it too. I love it too. There's no bad plant. There's no bad plant. Microclimates. Yes. So there's microclimates that you can make that make your plants feel like they're in a warmer climate, and then there are microclimates that you can make that can make your plants feel like they're in a colder climate, which is really good, especially if you're planting things like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts really like to have like a really cool season, but not like frosty. They like to be they like to have like a little bit of light frost throughout the season. And then, you know, herbs are definitely going to want that drier, warmer climate for sure, especially if you're in zone 6. Can I just lament one more time that this is a zone 6B? We are so close to 7A, so close and so far. Oh, and then this fall, I'm also going to be going around and dividing irises that we have growing all over the property, and then also dividing peonies. And so the only reason why you'd probably want to divide a peony, because you can let them go for a long time without dividing them, is that you would want to just have more peonies around your property, and I would definitely like to do that. And so we've had some peonies that we planted that have been growing for about 5 years, and so it's a healthy time to divide them and start planting more around the property for sure. And then I ordered more peony bulbs, because I mean, you can't order bulbs and not order some peonies. And these I'm really excited about. These are specifically ones that are meant to help be stand up without any supports, which I'm pretty excited about. And they're white and they're yellow. All the other peonies I have are like these really rich, beautiful, deep pink colors. I have a red one. I have a light pink one. But the yellow and the white will go with the garden that I have right here. So I'm excited about having those. There's a lot going on, which is why it's so nice to be able to plant bulbs in the fall, right? Zone pushing to warmer. Okay. A warmer microclimate. Oh, 5A. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you definitely, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry for lamenting about my 6B. I feel so bad. 5A. I think where I grew up was 5A. I lived in like northern Wisconsin. That was cold. There was like a 2-month time period where you could plant things, and my mom had this amazing, gorgeous garden along with my dad was a big gardener too. They had this garden that they presented the plan of it to the city, and the city gave them this plot of land right across the road from where we lived. And my dad was a teacher, and they got all the summer school kids to come out and plant a children's garden. And it was amazing. It was so beautiful. And I have some home videos now of just like garden tours that my dad took. And this is a thriving, beautiful garden. But that was like 5A, and that is really, really cold. And so, but the soil up there is amazing. You know, you get that glacier soil is just incredible, and the lakes, those are really, oh yes. Okay, so we'll talk about warmer microclimates. I'll get a good video going on about that, and then I'll also, yes, okay, so definitely warmer microclimates, and then what was the other one that we talked about? It was nitrogen fixing. We'll definitely do nitrogen fixing. Very sage advice. Thank you. Thank you. I love a good pun. It's my favorite. My husband's not really into like the puns or the dad jokes, and so I kind of feel like I have to fulfill that role in our family. So I do that a lot. That's my favorite kind. So I really dig it. Anyway, so we'll do some of that, and then just let me know in the comments here. I answer all the comments. There's not been a comment I think that I have not answered yet. So if you want to have a conversation with me on the videos about something, comment on it, and I will definitely respond, and let me know what you want me to do videos of, because I tend to just take a video of what I'm doing for the day, and it's nice to have things planned out and go, oh, I should do this, and then it's like dinner every night, right? Where you have to cook dinner every night, and like the worst thing in the world is thinking like, what do I make for dinner tonight? Well, it's not that bad with gardening, because you're going out and you're doing it anyway, and you're going to be in the garden, so I just film what I'm doing. But it's nice to have a few planned ones that I didn't have to think about, that I just know that you guys really want to hear about, and so that's really fun. So thank you so much, Steve. I don't even, like, I'm not exactly even sure how to end it. I think I watched a YouTube video on how to do this, right? And I think they said press the X box in the top, and so I'll hit that in just a couple minutes. But I just want to thank everybody so much for being part of this with me, and for putting up with my learning of how to do this, and I hope that we get to do some more of this, because this has been really fun. And one of the whole points of doing a gardening channel was to have people to kind of build a community with and talk about things that, you know, I'm passionate about: gardening, food forests, homesteading, stuff like that. And so doing a live stream is like that on steroids almost, because I actually get to see what you guys are asking and then talk almost with you at the same time, which is really, really cool. And this has been really fun. This might be like my therapy for the week. I might just, other than gardening, which is like the perfect therapy. Anyway, coming out here, we might do this like once a week or something like that, because I'm having way too much fun. I might do this a lot, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so I've got, my front door is right in front of me, and it's glass, and there's several little children looking at me saying, please feed me dinner. So I'm gonna go do that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me today, and stay blessed.